cannot know in 10 or 20 years what content we should learn, okay? But what we know for sure that in order to succeed in the future, in order to be a better person in the future, you must be the best learner. Let me start with an example. If we take a graphic designer or a doctor or an engineer who wakes up after 30 years of coma and he wants to go back to his job, what should he do? All the people I ask this question, they answer the same thing. He needs to go back to university and take everything again. He has to learn everything again because there's a feeling that technology changed everything in his field. And now I ask you another question. What if we take a teacher who wakes up after 30 years of coma? Most people will say that he just needs to wash his face and go back straight to the classroom. Because there's a feeling that although in other fields technology changed everything, in teaching and learning it didn't happen. And the technological revolution that happens in other fields didn't happen yet in education. And in order to bridge the gap between what happens outside the classroom and inside the educational system, we founded MindCET to bridge the gap between education and startup. And we do it in different ways. We take entrepreneurs, startup companies, and we say to them, you have a brilliant technology, brilliant algorithm, all the technological background, bring it to education and create your own EdTech product that will change the way we teach and learn. That's one way we do it. The other way, we take teachers and they become entrepreneurs. Teachers brings their own pedagogical and educational challenges and pains, and in order to deal with the challenges, they create their own ethics solutions with us. They don't need to know anything about how to develop a technological solution. We believe that in order to be the entrepreneur, the only thing you have to know well is the needs of the audience. And nobody knows the needs of the audience more than teachers. For example, kindergarten teachers have they need to map the students all the time, the learning skills, their learning materials and stuff, and they don't have anything to deal with it. So we have two kindergarten teachers who developed an app for kindergarten teachers to very easily, very intuitively to explore what happens in the kindergarten and to report very easily and very conveniently about the progress of the learning of each student in the kindergarten. And we have also two physics teachers who created a system of demonstrations using virtual reality, VR, in order to understand more abstract concepts like gravity, for example. We have a teacher who teaches social studies, civics, and she decided she wants their elementary school students, to understand how is it to be a citizen in a society. And she uses Second Life, or a platform similar to Second Life. She just puts the students on an island and tell them, now create a society, and teaches them all the social studies and social skills using this game. So this is just 3 examples. We have lots of other examples of products that are created by teachers and for teachers. I always say technology will not replace teachers, but teachers who use technology will replace teachers who don't. And this is we don't believe that technology is the solution for everything. But many of the things we believe that education can be, for example, more adaptive, more engaging, more interesting, more creative, okay? All the things we believe and dream about education, some of them, technology is the main enabler, maybe the single enabler to do it, okay? Because we believe that if you think pedagogy first and think what other kind of pedagogy and learning you want to promote, technology can be a great tool to achieve it. Sometimes the problem with technology is that there are many, many great products that don't answer a real need of the target audience. And in education, you see lots of cool and amazing products that doesn't deal with any of the challenges of the educational system. In order to deal with this problem, we create a community, and all our programs are one community of teachers, entrepreneurs, and R&D people that work together in one community in order to always test and have a dialogue with educators, teachers, and students. We use the educational system in Israel as a beta site to test and make sure that the product we develop are actually an answer, can actually help the needs and the challenges of the educational system, the students and the teachers. And we believe that dialogue with your users, in this case teachers and students, the dialogue with the user from day one of the product is the crucial element in a successful EdTech product. So motivation is one of the biggest problems of education. For many years, it's like an eternal problem. And I think one of the problems that we have when we talk about motivation is that the educational system today is one size fits all. You have one teacher for 30 or 20 or 40 students, and he or she teaches the same thing and the same style and the same pace to all the students. I think the solution for motivation is for learning to be more personalized, more adaptive to each student's learning style and pace. So, for example, when we talk about learning a new language, we have, like, for example, 100 words, new words we want to teach them. So each student can learn it by reading the stuff that he wants to read. One student can read about soccer and one student can read about music. So each student can read whatever he wants, and if we can use artificial intelligence to find and create a text for each student that includes the vocabulary we want to teach them. So by making the learning process more personalized, more individual, we can raise the motivation for students to learn better. And I think technology can be very engaging and very cool, but we need to go beyond the wow effect. Not just be cool, but be more meaningful for the students. Failure is part of learning, and that's what startup does. It fails all the time and learns from its failures. It's like a game, and that's why gaming is a very good method to teach, because as like in a video game, the only way to learn and to be better is to die all the time and learn from your failures. We talk about virtual reality and augmented reality and mixed reality, in which there's a shift from the internet of information to the internet of experience. Okay, so instead of just creating, consuming, and sharing information with each other, we can actually create, consume, and share experience with each other. And when we talk about education, the ability not just to read or to watch or to play, but to be someone else, somewhere else, with using these technologies of augmented reality and virtual reality, learning can be different, can be more engaging and more fun and more meaningful. That's one trend, the AR, VR, and MR. We also talk about the maker revolution, the maker culture, that students and people in general become makers. They create their own solutions. They connect between the digital world and the physical world by using all kinds of technologies like 3D printing and microcomputers and processors like Arduino, and they're using it to solve real problems, real life problems, and also just to be more creative, more fun and creative and cool and artistic, and this is very important too. Other technologies, emerging technologies are like, for example, AI, that goes for artificial intelligence, and we can use AI to learn the learning process, to learn how people learn, and to adapt the learning style and the learning process for each student. For example, by using chatbots, by using voice assistants, by using all kinds of AI technologies to create a personalized learning process. But when we talk about, like, for example, virtual reality, it's not like just learning something. By experiencing something, you can create empathy towards the other, okay? And when we can experience reality through the eyes of the other, you can be more empathetic towards the other. So this is not just learning and simulating physics and stuff. It's also by creating, with VR, better people. Okay, that's a very ambitious task, but it can be done.